You're listening to a podcast from the Finnish Football Show.
Yes, it's the Finnish Football Show. Thanks for joining me for another episode. It's the Mark and Keke Show again today. Sorry about that. Hi, Keke.
Hello. Good to be here, mate. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. We're a little bit light on numbers again, but we wanted to keep the listener informed as the sort of plough through the Finnish football closed season. So, Keke, you were very excited to review the recent performances of the Helmarit, the women's national team, in the Cyprus Cup competition. So we'll come to that first. We're also going to look at the Liigacup results as the group stage is nearly at its conclusion before heading into the semi-final stage. So we'll give a little update on that. And we'll also look at some notable transfers for Finnish clubs and players, and I'll just see if any other business comes up along the way. But I reckon if you're ready, Keke.
Yep, I'm ready.
The referee's ready. So off we go. Let's look at this Cyprus Cup competition. Maybe first, Keke, just remind people. We previewed this in the last full episode, but just remind people what this competition was.
Yeah, so Cyprus Cup, it happens every so often, every year maybe. But it takes place in Cyprus, and invitee teams get to go along and have a little tournament against each other. So
it's a competition in Cyprus where the winners get a cup.
That's right. Yeah,
it's a cunning name.
So there's a trophy at the end, mate, to be had. So
and what I didn't realise when we previewed this is that at the same time, England were playing in the, what was it, the Arthur C. Clarke Cup or something like that.
Yeah, Arnold Clarke.
The Arnold Clarke, yeah, it's Arthur's brother.
That's it, yeah.
And the USA have this She Believes Cup. So there's all these little sort of 4-team competitions going on. But clearly the big one was the Cyprus Cup. And Finland were scheduled to play Croatia, then Hungary, and then Romania. And you're excited for good reason. Tell us a little bit about what actually went on.
I am, mate. I mean, as you say, we did touch on the preview, and we had a little chat around the squad, and there was a few new names for us to keep an eye out on and see how they got on. But yeah, I'm excited for good reason, because it was 3 wins out of 3. I don't want to give too much away straight away, but I'll have a little rattle through the games.
You've shot your bolt already.
I have, but yeah, 3 wins out of 3, and anyone who's tuned into the podcast will see the picture that we've stuck up for the artwork for this episode, and it's the 3 goalies who featured, and holding the cup. So 3 wins out of 3, as I said. I think it was 16 goals scored to only 1 against. And
stunning, really, isn't it?
It really was, mate. And I'll tell you why. Because there wasn't the starting lineup for each of the 3 games was completely different. As I said, we had three goalies feature across the games, and there was some new names in there. And we discussed with the Huuhkajat side as well. You know, there's been some notable retirees and new players. The recent friendlies, a lot of youngsters came in, and maybe, you know, it didn't quite work out against Sweden and Estonia. But for the Helmarit, it's everyone slotted in like clockwork, and they got these 3 results. It was absolutely fantastic. I mean, if you want, I'll start off talking about the first game, the Croatia game.
Go for it. I didn't get to see these games, so I'm flying blind. Paint pictures with words, Keke.
I shall do my best. So the Croatia game was the first game, and I mean the side, you had Anna Tamminen in goal, Eli Pikku-Jämsä, Eva Nyström, Ria Erling, Tia Peltonen, Olga Artinen, Linda Sahlström, she captained the side, Evelina Summanen, Jutta Rantola, Joanna Tynnilä, and Katarina Kossola. And so, yeah, you know, regular people who watch the Helmarit will notice that there's a couple of new names in there.
Mm.
But as I said, Linda Sahlström, she captained the side, and we went ahead after only 2 minutes. Rantola was fouled and just outside the box in a sort of central position. And then Evelina Summanen, she needed some good news really after being cited by the English FA for a bit of what some people have described as play acting.
Yeah, simulation or fooling the referee. Anyway, she's
something like that.
In bother in the clink.
Yeah, that's it. So she needed a bit of good news, and yeah, she stepped up and lifted the free kick straight into the top bins, and Finland were 1-0 up. And you know, it was a tasty old start. 5 minutes later, Croatia did it back. We didn't know this yet, but that was to be the only goal that Helmarit conceded in the entire tournament. They had a free kick of their own, which was floated into the box, and the Croat striker nodded home. Sort of the only criticism, Eli Pikkujämsä sort of seemed to stop dead, and it looked like Anna Tamanen in the Finland goal sort of saw it late, and it was 1-1. But yeah, we pushed on. About 15 minutes gone, Croatia tried playing out from the back. You know, we've commented on that more than once before in the show as well, where you know older football supporters like us are shouting, "Get rid of it!"
Get it launched.
When the defenders and the goalie are playing it 1-2s with each other. And as I said, Croatia were trying a bit of that, and and Finland were pressing straight away. The Croat goalie got herself in all sorts of trouble, and she kicked the ball straight against Linda Sahlström, who stabbed it home for 2-1. So good stuff. Croatia had a couple of chances early in the second half, but you know, Tamanen was saving whatever came over to her, and she was lifting a few lofted shots onto the crossbar. She got 2 of those decent saves, and she actually came, despite conceding the goal, Anna Tamanen was voted player of the match. So
she must have had a bit to do then.
Yeah. I mean, it was mostly sort of, as I said, lofted shots. But yeah, you know, one of those ones, David Seaman-esque, where you're sort of stumbling back and you can see them fly over you. But she managed to deal with all of them. But in the second half, Olga Artinen, who's a great footballer, was starting to pull the strings in the attack, and a free kick just after the hour mark was fired into the box, and Summanen nodded it home for a second, and Finland's third, and that was 3-1. And yeah, you know, Croatia didn't really look like getting back into it after that 3-1. We're thinking lovely, but yeah, I mean, there was more to come. Jutta Rantola finished it off on 68 minutes after a quick 1-2 with Ria Erling. Peltonen played well. Pikkujämsä was roaming deep into midfield and bringing the ball forward. As I said, Tamanen made a number of saves throughout the match, so it was a really, really decent performance, mate.
Yeah, and what was your feeling beforehand about the quality of the opposition? Is this because I guess quite a few of the Finnish players are playing overseas. I don't know if they're all actively in competition at the moment, or if they're if some of them are sort of in mid-season breaks or whatever. But what was the feeling about the quality of the competition for this kind of evolving Helmarit team?
Well, yeah, I mean, Helmarit are ranked. Well, before the tournament, were ranked sort of 31st in the world in the FIFA rankings, and the teams who we came up against are admittedly below us in those FIFA rankings. But I mean, you've got Romania who are 40th, Hungary who were 42nd, and Croatia were down there in 60th. So on paper,
it's not huge, but not a huge difference, at least for a couple of them anyway.
No, okay. That's right. I mean, on paper, we've played the weakest side first, you know, and but we'll get on to the other results. But yeah, you know, as I say, the gap at the start of the game, the gap didn't look huge, but Finland really sort of grew into the game, settled down. As I said, you know, Olga Artinen was started to really settle into it and pull the strings. Yeah, Katarina Kossola, Tia Peltonen really played well, and as I said, you know, like Pikkujämsä as well. touched on it earlier about the guys who have retired from the Huuhkajat side, but Helmarit's seen some notable retirements as well recently. With Anna Alvinen and Anna Westerlund, who we've been enjoying watching for a good many years. Sort of hanging up their international boots, and yeah, as I say, Liigacup sort of took up that role where she was sort of bringing the ball out from the back, and so it's plenty to be positive about. And it was a great way to start the tournament, mate.
It was, but it was an even better way to continue the tournament. The next game saw Finland take on Hungary, and in theory, a better ranked team than Croatia, but certainly not a better performing team, according to these results.
I mean, as I said, like if you thought the Croatia game was good, there was something much better to come when we faced Hungary. I mean, the lineup changed the game with Mila-Mai Majasari making her debut in goal. What I was really excited about was to see Kaiser Collins starting up front with her old club mate Jenny Danielsson. It was really nice to see those two. I mean, they had a torrid time when they were at AIK together in Damallsvenskan. AIK didn't really actually. Mila-Mai Majasari was in that AIK side as well. They had a bit of a bad season last year. All three of those players have now moved on from AIK, but it was nice to see Jenny Danielsson and Kaiser Collin starting up front. And it was Kaiser Collin who opened the scoring after 20 minutes. A lovely goal. Sani Franci played the ball into Olga Artinen, who again had a fantastic game. She put in a delightful pass to Emmy Alanen, who in sort of, that sort of one motion, she sort of managed to collect the ball and then put it into the path of Kaiser Collin, who got her shot away perfectly before the Hungarian tackle came in. That was Kaiser Collin's sixth Helmarit goal. She had a big smile on her face and did a nice little celebration for the camera. So it was really great to see, mate.
And looking at the kind of score and scorers, it seems like it was reasonably close until maybe just before half time, and then Hungary fell apart in the second half.
Well, there's a reason for that, and I'll tell you what her name is in a minute. But I mean, as I said, Mila-Mai Majasari, she was sort of making saves whenever required, and still in the first half, just after half an hour, Vilma Koivisto scored her first Helmarit goal. Liigacup was up in the Hungary box, and she played a short pass back to Koivisto, who smashed home a low shot, and she was obviously pleased to get her first international goal. Liigacup was involved in Finland's third goal as well, lifting a lob pass over from the right, which Sani Franci flicked on for Jenny Danielsson to sort of volley into the top corner for 3-0. And that was Danielsson's 8th Helmarit goal. But as you said, mate, the second half, it really did go bananas. Ava Nystrom came close in 55 minutes, but we only had to wait until 66 minutes for the next goal. And as I said, substitute Linda Salstrom, unbelievable. She ran onto one of those long Liigacup passes and smashed home for 4-0. She scored again just 10 minutes later after an excellent run from Ria Erling. Ria Erling, who's been playing absolutely fantastic for a couple of years in Sweden now. And she had a really impressive second half, carrying the ball, dribbling with sort of skipping over tackles and holding onto the ball. So Ria Erling had a really good run. Linda cut back onto her right and hit a lob shot into the top corner, and that was goal number 54 in a Helmarit shirt for Linda Salstrom, mate.
Quite something, isn't it?
I know, Literally 1 minute later, she knew she was taking home the match ball. She got a hat trick, and it was Ria Erling who again was the provider. Linda made a run, managed to break the Hungary back line and stabbed the ball home for her third of the match, and that was Finland's 6. And at that stage, you're thinking, crikey, 6-0. This is something else. But they weren't finished yet. Summonen made it 7 with another free kick, 7 minutes from time, and there was still time for number 8 with Jenny Danielsson getting her second of the game, and that was Linda Salstrom turning provider this time, squaring across the box for Yenu to score. So 8-0, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite something. And just for the listener, if you want to see this, if you look at the blog post that goes with this, I put a link. I put a graphic of the score from each game, so you can see all the scorers. But there's a link there to the Pallolito page for each match, and there's a button there that says watch. Now I don't know if that's the whole game, if it's highlights. I didn't click it during the recording just in case everything falls apart. But if you want to watch this, it's especially if it's highlights, it's going to be a goal packed highlights package there.
There's some. I assume it's the highlights, mate, because there's some really great highlights on the Helmarit's own YouTube channel. So
right, okay,
yeah. Anyone who's listening, either click that link or head over there after you've watched our pretty faces on YouTube and check out those highlights. Yeah, sort of 3 or 4 minute highlight reels, and yeah, it's goal after goal after goal in that Hungary game, mate.
Okay, good stuff. I'll be heading over there so that I don't feel left out. I think what also caught my eye, as well as the number of goals, was that how they've been spread among the team. And I guess when there's a lot flying in, that tends to happen, that several people get on the score sheet. If they'd all been 1-0, there's every chance that it would have been Linda Salstrom that scored 1 goal in every game. But
yeah.
It's spread among the team. And you said that the team changed again for the final game, and this was the Romania game, and I guess that's why we're also seeing some different scorers again as well.
No, that's it, mate. I mean, the starting lineup, there was a few held on to their places, or kept the momentum going. But as I say, a change in goal. Tini Korpela came back in, and she captained the side. Adelina Engman came in. Heidi Kollanen came in. Jutta Rantala came back. It was a little bit different starting lineup. As I say, Jana Tunelu, who'd played previously, had some good games, and she was in the starting lineup again with Katarina Kossola. That pairing of Emmy Alanen and Ria Erling, they held on to their places. They really bossed the whole tournament. So it was the Romania game, and we had sort of one after those previous results, had sort of one hand on the cup, but yeah, it was extra special for Emmy Alanen. She was making her 100th Helmarit appearance. So really, kudos to her. It was really great. As I said, Adelina Engman and Heidi Kollanen came in, but despite the lineup changes, Helmarit continued as they'd left off, wasting no time. When Rantala opened the scoring after just 8 minutes, I'll tell you what, wow. When you do see the highlights, the Romanian goalie won't want to see that one again. But yeah, 8 minutes into the game, and it was 1-0. As I said, Katarina Kossola had been playing well. She tested the goalie with a couple of shots, and then we had to wait just before half time when Summanen picked up the ball, rolled it into Kollanen, who lifted into the box for Jana Tunela to head home, and that was 2-0, mate. Finland were looking really, really good. I mean, we weren't smashing them like we did Hungary, but we were looking in control. And on 75 minutes, substitute Nora Herom scored an absolutely lovely goal. Emma Koivisto had come on as a sub, and she collected the ball back from her own throw-in, powered into the box, mate. It's you've got to see that is excellent play. And she passed the ball back to Nora, who was sort of waiting on the edge of the box, and hit a lovely placed, one of those sort of side-footed place shots into the bottom corner. And fantastic. Sani Franci, who played some really great stuff across the tournament, got her goal. She made it 4-0 on 83 minutes. Ball came out to her after Romania cleared an Emmy Alanen shot, and Sani sort of powered home a volley into the roof of the net and did her trademark celebration. So that was lovely to see. I mean, as I said at the start, a return of 16 goals for 1 against, 3 wins, and the use of the wider squad it ticks all the boxes for Marco Saloranta. You know what I mean? It's like I don't think he could have asked for more.
No, it really does. And I'm looking at the league table, or the group table, or whatever here, and Finland finished with 3 wins from 3, a goal difference of 16 and 1. Croatia, who they beat in the first game, won their remaining 2. So I think you said Croatia were the lowest ranked team, but they managed to pull a couple of wins out of that, a 1-0 and a 2-0 by the looks of the goal difference. So they finished second. But yeah, it's quite something, and as impressive as the Helmarit performances were, that was an incredible review of those 3 games. Good job. You made the Finnish football show look like it knows what it's doing.
Well, sometimes
don't do that again.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, mate, I mean, even the commentator said it, when I was watching the Hungary game, he was like, when was the last time a Finland side scored 1-8-0? Do you know what I mean? Like, I was sort of trying to think that, and people can say it's one of these tournaments, it's a mid-season international tour, whatever, throwaway tournament. But at the end of the day, you're invited, you go along, you've got to win the games. Do you know what I mean? And the girls have come away with 3 wins out of 3, and they've lifted the cup. And if nothing else, it gives them a bit of momentum, a bit of good feeling around the camp. I'm sure they all sort of went back to their respective clubs or wherever they were going afterwards with beaming smiles on their faces. And it can't have been bad for them all to be together in that sort of atmosphere, mate.
No, a bit of warmth in the bones as well in the middle of winter is no bad thing. And maybe there's hopefully there's some momentum that builds from that, because that's 3 cracking results, and everyone should be confident when they get back together again. I haven't got a fixture list in front of me here. Are there fixtures confirmed for later in the year?
Not that I'm aware of as yet, mate.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
Yeah. Obviously, as anything comes out, we'll keep everyone informed.
Yeah. Absolutely. Good job. Well done, Keke. That's a good start to the show. Let's move on and look at the Liigacup. And again,
just as exciting.
Well, yeah, it depends who you support, I think. As a reminder, this is for the Veikkausliiga teams. So there's 12 teams. They're put into 2 groups of 6, play each other once, and the top 2 teams from each group go through to semi-finals and final. It's actually, I think, a really tidy format for this competition. I don't know why we've been messing around with 3 groups of 4 in the past. It seems quite daft in hindsight. Anyway, the group A, Group B. Group A is kind of Helsinki and the south based, and then the Group B is kind of the others. So Group A, there's still actually a couple of games left. On Saturday the 4th. Inter play Lahti and KTP play HJK. What I've noticed is there's been a few big results. HJK beat Lahti 5-2. HJK beat Honka 4-0. And then Inter beat HJK 4-0. Like, they're a bit all over the place, but there's some goals flying in. And then Lahti beat KTP 5-1. So there's been a lot of goals, but when I looked at the 2 groups, okay, this one's still got 2 games to go. So there's been more goals in this group, but they seem to have come in these sort of high scoring games rather than the other group where maybe they've been spread through all of the games a bit more. The way that table sits at the moment is that Inter are top with 9. So they played the top 4 have played 4 games. Inter are top with 9 points. HJK second with 9. Lahti are third with 6, and KTP are 4th with 5. And then the bottom 2 have played all their games. It's Honka with 5 points and Mariehamn with 2 points. Mariehamn not winning a game, obviously, they've got 2 points, and only scoring 1 goal in all those 5 games. So you can't take much from this competition into league form. We've seen that traditionally. We've now got a gap of about a month or so before the season starts. But That doesn't look very good, does it? 2 draws and 1 goal in five games. On the flip side, I'd say that for Gordepe, who came up last season, that's quite creditable so far. One win, 2 draws, and a defeat, leaving them in 4th place. And depending how the results go on at the weekend, they could end up 3rd in their group, which should give them a bit of confidence going into the season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's certainly interesting form from that promoted side, Gordepe. So yeah, one to keep an eye on.
In the other group, this is the group that my Liigacup boys are in. Yeah, the scores in the games, there haven't been so many high scoring victories, sort of 2-1s and 1-0s and 3-2s or whatever. I think the biggest win has been 3-0 for Ilves over Kups, which didn't please Rich greatly.
Cheers the rest of us up there.
Yeah, one thing I would notice is that in the southern area, a lot of the games have been played outdoors. I don't know if you've seen any of the games, but Huuhkajat have been playing outdoors, and I think it was Interplayed the other day, and in the first half the pitch was white, and they were using a pinky orange ball, which was quite retro. And in the northern part, it's more indoors. Certainly, in sports halls and these bubble domes. Attendances, Huuhkajat have had a couple of the bigger ones in the south. 734 for the Mariehamn game in January, and 503 for the Honka game in February. And then in Group 2, Seinäjoki Vaasa, the big Pohjanmaa derby, got just shy of 500 in there, which is quite something. Some of the other games are a bit lower attendance, I think. Yeah, the Liigacup Cups game is showing a crowd of 0, and I know there were people in there. I counted 2 of my friends in the crowd, so there were definitely some people in there. The table currently, so this group is finished, and Oulu sit top with 9 points, and that come from 2 wins and 3 draws. So that kind of shows that being a bit tighter as a group. 6 goals scored and 4 conceded, but they sit top with 9. Then it's Kups with 7 points. 3rd is Huuhkajat with 7. 4th is Seinäjoki with 6, and then Vaasa with 6, and at the bottom was Ilves with 5. So, no disasters in there. Bearing in mind that Ilves, who finished bottom, beat Kups with 3-0, with the biggest sort of victory in that particular group. What to say? I think there's a couple of sort of bits of news connected to Seinäjoki's team selection and results that are coming a little bit further down. So we'll talk about those maybe in the transfers section. Because there's a couple of transfers that have sort of caught my eye in the teams that have been playing in the Liigacup.
That southern group you're on about, group A, is it, Mark? I think they're playing the final game. Is it playing the games on Saturday? Are they not? That's
right. Yeah, they're coming up just this weekend now. Yeah.
Yeah. So Turku FC Lahti, is it, and Gordepe Huuhkajat, both on Saturday.
That's it. Yeah, thanks, Keke, for reminding the remaining fixtures. And I'm just going to look at the when the semi-finals are. Yeah, no dates confirmed yet, but I think it's the first place in Group A plays the second place in Group B, and vice versa. So there's still something to play for the teams at the top of the group as well, to see who comes top and how that affects the next round. But it's going to be Oulu and Kups against Inter, Huuhkajat, Lahti. Two of those 3 can still get there. So it's going to be interesting stuff for the weekend. Worth keeping an eye on.
That's it.
And I think we'll take a break there. Just remember that there's the tables, the results, and links to all this stuff on the Veikkaus Liiga website in the blog post. But I think it's time for us to have a little look at the Finnish Football Show merch stall, Keke.
Yes, mate.
Here we go. So on the screen here, you can see the Inter shirt from last year with that lovely Finnish Football Show design
Running straight through
running
it. Yes.
through the name, and there's a little bit of colour in there. This one's showing a black t-shirt, and it's got the white letters with blue text and a little bit of red in there. I try to pick the colours that are important to these teams, and you see the logo a little bit closer there. We're still no closer to getting new designs for this year because I've got too much work and I'm too busy. But I keep saying it, I've got ideas. So, and as we said before, this is one of the men's shirts. They're available in different cuts, different quality of cotton, and also men's and ladies fits. And then there's all other manner of other merchandise there as well. You can see on the screen hoodies and phone cases and kids styles and mugs and masks and all kinds of things that you can order from the Finnish Football Show shop on tpublic.com. So again, links in the blog post, link in the episode description wherever you're watching or listening. The prices we don't control, but we saw again last weekend there was another promo. So if you see something you like, check it out regularly, and you might just find that price of €25 goes down to 15 or something like that, and then it's almost a bargain.
That's it, mate.
And we also have the buy me a coffee, buymeacoffee.com/FFS podcast, where you can make a donation to the running of the show. So when we sell the merchandise, we don't own this stuff, but we get a little cut from TeePublic for everything we sell, and that goes into the coffers just to pay for the running costs of the pod. And same with Buy Me a Coffee. You can just make a donation there, and it will go towards one of the things that we pay for bringing the show to you. And the people that have donated in the past know who they are, and they know that we love them very dearly. Yeah,
we've had some very generous donations over the past, and we appreciate that very much. But those who haven't been on that Buy Me a Coffee yet, get yourself on there,
because we really like coffee. Yeah,
send us a couple of shekels our way.
All right, I can see the referee is getting impatient, Keke, so he's ready to blow his whistle.
Over it.
And we're off for the second half. Let's hope we have as strong a second half as the Helmarit had against Hungary.
Yes, mate.
But that's quite something to live up to. Right, let's have a look at some winter transfers, and there's a very useful blog post on the Veikkaus Liiga website that gets updated with all the transfers throughout the season, and we bookmark this, we've shared it with each other on WhatsApp, and I've starred the message, I'm never going to lose this blog post again. And they bring a new one out each year, so that it's always there. And I just thought we could mention some of the more notable ones this year so far, or since we last spoke, maybe. So the first one I've got a couple of Asjikor related, and I mentioned before about how the team's been performing in the Liigacup. My friend Billy has been at most of the games and thinks it's been not that bad for Asjikor. The results have not quite gone our way, but he thinks the football's been okay. I would say watching the games on TV is really difficult because the camera angles in some of these indoor places are so bad. Actually, at Wallsport at Seinäjoki's ground, there's no space around the pitch. So when you're standing, there is a raised sort of mezzanine floor at one end, which is where Billy watches from. So he's clearly got the best view. But if you're at the side of the pitch and that's where the camera is, you're literally at times looking over the linesman's shoulder. So you've literally got the same view as the linesman. So you can't see from the TV exactly how the game's going.
Well, don't give the linesman any more grief ever again then if you're saying he can't see from there.
Yeah, but he's not looking at position patterns of play and who's passing to who. He just has to look to see, are you online, and get his green and red lines sorted out for the VAR.
Yeah.
But Asicor have signed on loan Ovi Odieri from Arsenal, which is quite a big loan. He's a young goalkeeper. From what I understand, he's from South London. He's got the possibility of playing football for England, Ghana, and Nigeria in the future. And he's come here for a year of men's football. If I understand correctly, he's played non-league football. He played for Chelmsford in the UK, in the, I don't know, Conference South maybe. And I guess this is another step up. It hasn't been all plain sailing so far. There's been a few goals go in, but I think that's for me, it's quite exciting to get the opportunity to see a young goalkeeper like that from a big club. He's 19, he's young for a keeper, but it'll be interesting to follow how he does this year and how he progresses in the future as well. Yeah,
see how the development goes. It's an interesting step for him. I mean, brave of the kid to want to give it a go, to get out there and try something new and get some experience. And hopefully you and the Kloppet can get behind him and spur him on to great things.
Well, he's our goalkeeper, Keke. The Kloppet is always behind the goalkeeper, at least for one half of the game.
Oh, dear.
Someone else that we'll be able to get behind again, having cursed him a year ago, is Murillo, who's moved back from Huuhkajat to Asicor. Actually, I think
welcome back into the fold.
Yeah, exactly. He got a reasonable send off when he left, and I think people were really disappointed. I think there was a little bit of a story at the time that he said he was going back home, and then he sort of got off the train at Helsinki and stayed there. But there wasn't any major sort of hard feelings when he left, and I think we felt we were going to miss him, and we've had Andrade playing in that sort of left wing back position last season. I thought he was decent and really sort of grew into that position during last season. So this will be interesting if you think we've got Macario Glover down one wing on the right and potentially Murillo or Andrade down the left, and then you've got Afori as well. There's some quite exciting sort of wide players there. If Joaquin Gomez can find the right balance to get all those players playing, as well as Hannula and on and on and on, there's some potentially exciting players in that team. And also someone else who moved from Huuhkajat to TPS Turku is Riku Riski. Yeah,
interesting one.
Yeah, it is, because a couple of seasons ago, the two Risky brothers were banging in the goals for.
They was on fire, weren't they?
Yeah, but
our mate Mark Hayton was asking for both of them to be called up to the national side.
Yeah, it's starting to. I think that hope is fading now.
Yeah.
But he's a experienced striker, knows where the back of the goal is and where the back of the net is. The back of the goal is no good to anybody. And behind the goal. But it could do a good job for TPS. It'd be interesting to see how that works out this season. And another veteran goalkeeper, a striker, who certainly knows how to score a goal, much to Rich's surprise when he signed for Cups, is Tim Väyrynen, who's made a move away from Cups to FC Vaduz in Liechtenstein.
Yes, yeah, he
not
FC
Switzerland.
Vaduz. Not well. They play in the Swiss league.
They do. So,
yeah. So FC Vaduz. I've been to Vaduz actually when Finland played Liechtenstein. So yeah, been to the FC Vaduz stadium. But yeah, they play in the second tier of Swiss football, I believe. And Tim Bowden has gone to try himself out abroad again. I don't know what the deal is there. He seems to be doing really, really well at Cups. I don't know. It's just maybe they've offered him a fat load of money. Who knows? But tax-free Swiss francs, I suppose.
Yeah, there's a couple of players gone since Simo left, I think. I wonder if that's part of the rationale. There's a couple of other players that maybe fit into your Finns overseas. I'm sure you've mentioned these on Instagram. One is Jesse Tuominen coming to Cups from Beko Häcken. He, for those that don't know or remember, he's been in and around the fringes of the national team in the years that the podcast has been running.
Certainly has, mate. Certainly has. Yeah, he had a bit of mixed fortunes at Häcken, but yeah, he's back in Veikkaus Liiga, and I'm sure he'll be keen to do well there. He's a player of some pedigree, so I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine, and we'll see his name in the headlines. Yeah,
another one to watch. And then Lauri Myllymäki came from Venezia back to Ilves recently.
That's right, mate. I mean, there was a bit of a Finnish contingent at Venezia. We obviously we know that the old Pojan Palo's there. Nicky Maienpää has been there for quite a while, and Jesse Jornen is there now as well after making the move from Brescia. So they signed Lauri Myllymäki and with a hope of developing him, I suppose. But yeah, for whatever reason, he's packed his bags and come home. Maybe it didn't quite work out for him there in Italy, but I'm sure he would have enjoyed the experience. And yeah, back in familiar territory at Ilves. Hopefully, he can kick on again and sort of kickstart his career, or bring something to the table to the Veikkaus Liiga that he's learned from his time in Italy. So yeah.
You mentioned this Finnish contingent over there, and I noticed also that 3 players have been loaned from Venezia to KTP for this season. So maybe whatever agent is getting the players into Venezia has also got return tickets that he's bringing some others back to the Veikkaus Liiga. So not all to the same team. Oh, well, I mean they've all come to KTP, but obviously Myllymäki's come to Ilves. So, but there's something happening there between Venezia and the Veikkaus Liiga.
Yes, mate.
And the final transfer I wanted to mention, and I didn't know the name of Ashley Colley before he moved back, but he's come from Eskilstuna in Sweden to Oulu and scored 3 in 3 in the Liigacup, which is decent return.
Yep.
What really cheesed me off is that 2 of those 3 came against Seinäjoki, and in the game that Seinäjoki took the lead and then lost 2-1. So yeah, thanks, Ashley. But anyway, it stood out to me, and maybe one to watch, because that's a decent return as soon as you join a new team.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
What about your Finns overseas, Keke? So listener, remember Instagram, find the Finnish football show, Finnish_football_show. It's basically Keke keeping everyone up to date with what's going on in the Finnish football world, or not the Finnish football world, but what's going on for certain players, mostly overseas. Yes. But it's you're quite prolific, Keke, and
yeah,
I guess you got a train journey to work, so that's what you busy yourself with.
Well, yeah, I like to keep we like to keep an eye on what's going on, and and any of the followers over there or the listeners, it's a nice a nice pictorial guide as to what the Finnish players are up to. So it's I enjoy doing it, and hopefully people enjoy looking at it. But
I tell you what, it also does. It also helps with the recognition of the players, like looking at someone going, that's who that is. Yeah, because the faces appear sort of with some semi-regularity. So you see, and also you do the women's game as well as the men's, and that's helpful for me as well.
Yeah.
So what have you noticed? What's been going on lately?
There's been plenty going on, mate. Obviously, we mentioned Venezia. Poyampalo's been doing well down there recently. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but there was a lovely photograph come out of him enjoying a pint after the game the other week, and he's finished the game, rewarded himself with a pint straight away, and he was parading around the edge of the pitch with his pint of ice cold beer or Moretti, I don't doubt.
How better to cool down after a game.
That's it, and obviously it got quite a bit of traction, and he had a couple of pictures with the fans, and the photographs went pretty crazy over the various social medias. But yeah, recently, Jesse Joronen, who we mentioned, he's at Pressure. He kept a clean sheet the other week. They're picking up. They've started to pick up points. They're easing themselves away from that bottom of the league and sort of out of trouble. So hopefully those guys can retain their Serie B place and push on from there. Another goalie, our mate Lukas Radetsky, he was involved in an absolutely bonkers Europa League game. I think it was, what was it? It was like, I don't know, 5-4 or 5-5 or something in there against Monaco, and his Bayer Leverkusen side went through on penalties in the end. I'd like to say it was all down to Luque that caused the Monaco player to smash the ball over for the deciding kick.
But, he gave him the eyes before pulling on the Huuhkajat mask.
Yeah, we'll give him the credit anyway. And he went over and celebrated with their travelling fans as well. So he's pleased to be through to the last 16 of the Europa League. Those who tuned into the last episode will remember I spoke about Artur Hoskonen, who's joined a club who's joined Cracovia in Poland. He got a goal on his first start. Turned out to be a consolation goal. Cracovia didn't win the game, but yeah, he's had a game as a sub, and then he's made his first start and chipped him with a goal. Lovely header at the back post. So doing all right there. Robert Ivanov, another player in the Polish league, scored at the weekend. They I think, what was the score there? I think they ended up 5-1 winners or something, Varta Poznan. But yeah, was it 5-1? I'll just check. Hold on. Yeah, 5-1 winners, and Robert scored the last one. So he's doing well over there in Poland. So Leo Väisänen made his debut for MLS club FC Austin in America. There first, the MLS season kicked off last weekend, early hours of Sunday morning, I believe it was, our time. And yeah, made his debut, provided an assist for FC Austin to score in his first game. So there's plenty of them doing really well.
You also mentioned about Jimi Tauriainen.
Yes, he signed a young Jimi Tauriainen. He signed a new contract at Chelsea. So hot prospect, I suppose you could say. Young player. He's spent the last few years in Chelsea's academy. There's if that's your sort of thing, there's you can follow Chelsea Youth on Twitter and all that, and they sort of let you know what's happening with the young players at Chelsea. And yeah, young Jimi Tauriainen features quite heavily over there. He's as I say, signed a new contract today, so hopefully he'll continue his development at Chelsea, and you never know, might even get a first team looking. They've got a bit of history of loaning out players, haven't they? But even that might not be too bad for him. The other one that caught my eye was Santeri Väänänen, who's joined Rosenborg, and he chipped in with an injury time winner at the weekend as well. So it's all happening, mate.
Very, very nice. And I think we've managed to do a fairly tight show today. So let's finish off with one more story about the ticket sales for the Huuhkajat Euro qualifiers. This is something you sent through not long before the show started. I've put a link to the Buri Instagram post here, where they said that if I understand it correctly, because I read it quickly, that they've already sold over 1,000 tickets for the Pohjois-Karre section of the Olympic Stadium for the upcoming qualifying games.
That's right, mate. Yeah. So there's so SMU Core, they've put together a like a kausikortti, for want of a better word.
Right, okay.
So yeah, you can purchase your kausikortti for every home fixture for this upcoming campaign, and yeah, they're celebrating the fact that they've sold over 1,000 of those. So
right,
so, yeah,
okay.
really,
So that's even more impressive, because that's not just 1,000 tickets. That's 1,000 kind of series tickets or something for this whole season. So there'd be 5 home games, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So yeah, really, first of all, really well done to the SMU Corps for putting it all together, and secondly, for the all the fans who have come out and put their hands in their pockets and bought their tickets. I mean, it's yeah, Finnish football culture goes from strength to strength, mate, and yeah, it's we're proud to be a little part of that, and it's great to see more and more people getting involved and joining us on the Pohjoiskara.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm planning to be there on at the beginning of June, the Friday night game against Slovenia. I quite fancy that, because I think it will be competitive, more competitive than the Monday evening game against San Marino, and also Friday night, isn't it?
Yeah, Friday night, downtown Helsinki.
Friday night, Pohjoiskara, followed by Mummu Tunneli. If Lady Satu gets her way, we're in. But more of that nearer the time, I suspect.
Yeah, mate. Definitely.
I think we probably covered everything. We were talking just before the show that there's the first of these qualifiers for the Huuhkajat, these Euro qualifiers, coming up towards the end of March. So I guess that's when we'll be back in a few weeks' time, probably with some shorter match day match report episodes where we just talk through what we've just seen. Maybe we'll see if we can get Mark Hayton back on for those.
That'd be nice, mate.
Just a couple of short ones. We still miss him, and we'll keep telling him in the pod until he comes back.
I'll tell you what, mate. That's got to be the best looking sauna in the world, because this sauna renovation that he disappeared to. This sauna renovation that he disappeared to sort out has taken him I don't know how long. So I'm just waiting for my invite to Mark Hayton's sauna, because it's got to be the best damn sauna in the world.
That is a very good point. And on that bombshell, dear listener, I think we'll call it a night. Keke, thanks for joining and for kind of instigating that we get together again today. We've been waffling on for 55 minutes, so we've done another full show just between the two of us, which is quite something. And I'll speak to you, I guess, on here in a few weeks' time. And listener, thanks for listening.
Kiitos.
You've been listening to the Finnish Football Show. You can find us online at finishfootballshow.com. Remember to subscribe to the show wherever you're listening or watching. You can follow the Finnish Football Show page and group on Facebook and also on Instagram. See the links in the episode description. You can also connect with the 5 hosts on Twitter, at Explore Finland, at FC Suomi, at Escape to Suomi, at Keke and at Mano99. Links to the Finnish Football Show merch stores are also in the episode description.